Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Dr. Andrea, happy Friday. How are you today?
I am hunky-dory, except for I just poked myself in the eye with a mascara wand.
Oh, when I did that last time, that's why I don't use mascara anymore.
I know that we got to keep it real. People, this is real life. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you're doing things and you flub up and you look a little tearful. Instead of saying I had a moment, I'm just going to be honest.
There you go. I'm excited for today because we have somebody who is in a community that we both belong to. And let's go ahead and bring him on.
Please.
Randy, happy Friday, my friend. How are you?
Happy Friday. Doing well. Glad to be here.
Excellent.
Well, I love all your books behind you, first of all.
Well, I thank you. They are real. It's not a fake background or anything.
I love that. Yes, I always used to have all my books behind me, and I decided to not have the office that I had before. So I haven't figured out the new way to bring right now my books are all in tubs, and it makes me sad because I think that they need to be displayed and showcased to the world. So I'm so glad that you're doing that. If you turned around right now, or I guess you don't have to turn around, you can see your books in front of you. Which book would be your favorite?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It depends on the area of life, but one of them that I really like that actually is a book by John Maxwell called Failing Forward. It was a book that I read years ago that kind of reframed for me failure and kind of gave me a better perspective on it. So that's one of them. And then there's another one. It's a little bit more of a personal one. And a kind of a faith-oriented one, but it's called Wild at Heart. Those are my two. So 2 different realms, but both help you grow personally.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
Randy, I thought you were going to say my favorite book is the one I wrote.
Well, I mean, that was I learned a lot from a lot of people. So I love the books that I write, and I hope they're adding lots of value to the people that are reading them. But I prefer to focus on other people and not myself. So
I'm looking forward to reading your book. In case you're curious, this is the book I'm reading now. It's Connection Expansion by Devin Sismore. And the reason I'm reading is because he's also going to be on my show next Monday.
Nice.
So it's on Author's Tales. And I love the fact that we have all these books that we can read. I recently was talking to somebody and I said, I really love your background. He goes, those are not real books. It's wallpaper. I'm like, oh, that's a shame.
I do have to admit that since I don't have my office that I used to have with all my books behind me, I have found a library background that I use sometimes depending on where I'm at. And at the same time, I found out that people, Randy, it's really interesting. People like to see where I'm at. So even though I'm at a hotel, people like to know that. So I get like, where are you now? What are you doing? So when I have the fake backgrounds, like they can't track where I am or what I'm doing, or they can't guess. So it's kind of a little fun game that I found that people like. So I've been just keeping it very real.
Yeah, and Dr. Andrea has been traveling, 40 days so far?
Yeah, I'm actually home right now, although I'm not at home. I'm in my hometown, but we decided to book a hotel because we're having a whole bunch of parties at our house the next couple weeks. And I wanted to do this thing called ozone, where we put this thing in our house and it takes out any smells, odors, and we live in an old farmhouse. So like every spring, it seems like the wetness of the earth, brings up that earthy smell. And even though it's an old farmhouse, I don't want it to smell like one.
Love
And
it.
other
Love it.
people don't seem to notice it, but I notice it, and so we're doing it for me. So, so we were at a hotel last night for that reason. But
There you
it's
go.
a really good opportunity to refresh and renew.
Love that. Randy, one of the topics that we're going to be talking about today, especially being that this is a business show, lead better. And that's something that you're going to share with us. What does that mean, lead better?
Well, I think all of us have the ability to be a leader. I'll go into organizations and it's interesting. I'll ask, hey, how many of you think you're a leader? And, some of them raise their hands, some of them don't. And then I'm like, hey, how many of you interact? And lots of hands are going up, and then I give them a hard time. Hey, if we need to call the morgue, if your hand's not up because you're probably dead,
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, what I help them understand is leadership is simply influence, and we're influencing people one way or another, positive direction or a negative direction. So it's the question of how do we lead better and create an environment where we can grow and learn from other people. Like, I think even this environment we're in, the three of us are in right now, we can learn from one another how to lead at a higher level. I kind of think of the principle, the law of the lid by John Maxwell. It says, our leadership ability determines our level of effectiveness or our level of success. So how do we raise that lid? Being around people, reading books, having experiences, all those are ways that we can lead better, and evaluating our experiences. Like, those are a lot of different ways that come to mind of how we can lead better and more effectively, with the underlying question, how can I add value to the people I'm leading? That if our posture is that versus being all excited about power and control, we're gonna be a good leader.
I like that. That's one of the reasons I've always been very focused about talking about how to be really transparent and really real. And I have found that the higher level of people, I've had the pleasure of working with like multimillionaires and billionaires and people that are super celebrity and athletes. And I used to hide or try to think that I had to hide the fact that I, poked my eye with a mascara wand or something like that. And what I found out is they actually like that about me, is that my quirkiness and being ridiculously honest and fun, along with being able to have that other switch to high, depth of professionalism when it's needed and in the right place in the right time. That's what they love about me. And so it's interesting how many people I've met along the way who don't really show up as their full self. And so I think that's where like imposter syndrome comes from, where it's not that they're an imposter in their business, because like they have what it takes to be with the people professionally, but it's the imposterness of being their true self. And so I wonder sometimes if imposter system is, I keep calling it system instead of symptom, that it like almost needs two different definitions, because it's not that they can't do it professionally or they're afraid to be professional, but they're afraid to show up to be real as the other part of themselves. What are your thoughts on that?
I was leading, it's funny you say that, because yesterday I was leading a leadership roundtable in an organization, and that whole imposter syndrome thing came up, and I just said, I was talking to the group and I was like, hey, let me just tell you something. All of us are dealing with it. And like, none of us, when we're in a position of leadership, especially, none of us knows what we're doing. The owner of the company doesn't know what they're doing. And if they do know what they're doing completely, you might want to be worried, because they're probably staying comfortable and the company's probably going to start going the wrong direction. So it's like, on some level, just be real about, hey, I don't know what I don't know here. I mean, I there's things I do know, but there's some things I don't know. And every one of us, I do not at all advocate for the fake it till you make it thing. Just be real admit what you know, keep learning and growing and getting out of our comfort zone. And when we get out of our comfort zone, we're gonna be less of an imposter. But I mean, at the end of the day, people are just more focused on the person they look at in the mirror than they are on each other, and realize that we're all trying to figure things out sometimes. It was just because the one person in that group just kind of addressed that, and I was like, hey, you're not alone. Everyone at this table has struggled with it, or even is struggling with it in some area of life. I think of it as a father. I have 3 sons. As a father, when you first get your child, it's like, where's the manual? We don't know what we're doing, and all of a sudden we're a parent and an adult back in the day. And I think that happens to us professionally as well, that we get the new role, the position, start the business, and we're like, do people know that I don't know what I'm doing? And
Yeah.
I hope they don't.
Sifu, I forget, where are you in the from the oldest to the youngest? How many? Oh, can't hear you.
I said, what category? I'm just kidding. You mean in my family tree?
Yeah,
I'm number 10 of 12.
10 of 12.
I
And
was
Randy,
the first one born in a hospital.
well, see, look, you were technically, you were born to be more technical than the rest of them.
Well, maybe not. Maybe being born in a hospital is not the best thing that ever happened to me.
True.
And when we think of the way we've evolved, right? Because my mom had 9 kids at home, and it was no big deal. Maybe she had enough of having kids, and she goes, "This one, I'm going to let other people handle this. I'm not going to deliver it by myself." So then I have a little brother and a little sister, and they were born in the hospital as well. So it's very interesting when we think about the family dynamics and what our parents have gone through or have not gone through. And if you're a parent out there, what is it that we keep reminding our children about being an imposter, about being real, about fulfilling not my dreams, but their own dreams?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
weighty proposition there.
well, that's huge. What you're saying there is that I think about like leading. We got to lead well at work, and I want people to lead well at work so they can lead well at home, transform homes and communities. But we got to lead well at home, and if we get out of kilter and we're trying to live through our children, then we're not leading them. We're trying to get something filled in us that should already be, hey, I've been there. I played that sport. I did that thing. I did that. This is your time. Let me help you figure out your path, son or daughter or whatever. That's kind of what I hear and what you were just saying there.
Well, I've done it for my own kids. I have 2 boys, and they're incredible, yet they took different paths. But it wasn't up to me to judge the paths they took, right? One of them is already talking about retiring. He's only 20, and he actually can retire today. But he goes, "Dad, I'm going to hang around for another 3 years. I'm going to go work for a company, learn how to run that business, and then." He goes, "Then I'm going to retire." I'm like, "What are you going to do when you retire?" He goes, "I think I'm going to teach people to do what I do." I said, "Now that's genius." Because for a 20-year-old to actually say he can retire, he's not lying. He actually can retire. He buys all different kinds of sports cars. And I said, "Giovanni, what are you doing with that?" He goes, "Dad, don't worry. It's what you've taught me all along. That's my fun money, FUN." And I said, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Don't worry," because I told him the 4 principles. I told both my boys the principles of what we can do with money. One is to have fun with it. The other one is to invest it. The other one is to save it. And the other one is to tithe, to give it back. And so he definitely learned those lessons. And he's not blowing his money on things he's doing. He's having fun with his money, and that's where the difference comes in. And if you listen to the news lately, Bill Gates, and if you're out there, Bill, I can be one of the people that you help out with. He's going to give his 191, I think it's $191 billion away in the next 20 years. Next 20 years. So, Bill, if you need a good cause, I am that cause. And I know Randy is, and so Dr. Andrea. But here's the thing. In 20 years, he's only going to give 191 billion away. You know, in 20 years, he's going to remake that again. So he'll have another maybe 200 million or 200 billion by that time. So it's the money is a vehicle. The money has energy. We need to understand it so we can play with it like my son is doing, right? And my other son, he followed a different path. He's became a chef. He's also a natural bodybuilder, and he's currently part of one of my team on a venture that I'm doing as well. So did I guide my kids? I wanted to. I wanted them to do some of the things I wanted to, but then I said, wait a minute. No, let them be who they want to be so they can shine.
Randy, when you think about your three boys and the life that you've led and how you show up in the world and what they've taken from you or what you've introduced them to, what do you see has ingrained into them differently?
Well, we're still in process with some of that. I mean, they're going to be 20 and 17, or sorry, 18 and 15 this summer.
Oh, yours are younger. Okay.
Yeah. So we're still in process with that. But you know, some of what I have seen up until now is, I heard this recently, and it was encouraging to me that don't praise your children for what they do, but praise them for the choices they make. And up until now, they're making pretty good choices. My oldest just finished his first year in college, and from a academic and from a social perspective, he's making good choices. You know, he's still figuring some things out, like we all had to at that stage of life. But you know, he's making good choices. The other two they're making good choices, and when they make mistakes, you know, they hate this question. But I say, what'd you learn from that? I get it. I would hate that question too. If you asked me that, in the moment of it, I'd be like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. But I'd probably chew on it and then come back to you. But I want them to think, okay, you made a mistake. Okay, that's fine. It happens. You all appendages are there. Everything, you know, nobody's dead. Nothing. Okay. So what'd you learn from it? And just watching my oldest, even while he's away at school, kind of processing things as simple as, I didn't realize I had a membership at this place and I got charged for it. And all of a sudden he's realizing how to manage his money more and better. So, and you can teach, and as you know, we can teach our children how to do things, but it's up to them to figure it all out. I mean, that's
teach our children well. Randy, I do that. I break out into song every time I hear you guys do some part of a lyric. Randy, I have a small nudge for you. Are you open to a suggestion?
Sure.
So when you ask them, what did you learn from that? And they tell you, if you would be open to asking them the second question. Now, what did you learn about that that's positive and benefits you? Because they're hearing the negative of it. But what if then they shifted it and say, because then they for themselves would say, you know, they may say, you know, now I know that next time I'll be able to save money well. So now I make good decisions now based on it. So then they're for themselves saying the positive, and that will give them that extra little, then they won't maybe regret that question so much.
I love that.
I like that.
One of the things that I always encourage my clients, especially if they have children, is not to first judge the choices that their children make, but also let them be aware that there's a consequence, whether it's a positive or a negative consequence, to all of our actions, not just our children's actions, but even our own, right? And how do we raise them with the ability to be able to make judgments for themselves on their own lives? And then the other aspect of it is, don't be a helicopter parent, right? If we're saying don't do this, do that, do that, all of a sudden we're limiting their expansion on their own beliefs. So I believe in, you know what? You're gonna make mistakes, and some of them will cost you. Other ones, not so much. But if we try to prevent every little mistake, we might as well put our kids in bubble wrap, and they'll never get scraped knees. They'll never fall off their bicycle. One time my son was riding his bike, and I get a call from his mother. We were not living together at the time. And I ran over. He decided to ride his brand new bike that I had bought him. I think he was 12. And he had a bag in front, a bag that he was carrying some things in, and the bag got tangled in the front spokes of the bike, and he flipped over, and his face got all smashed. And so when I went over, I just looked at him, and instead of saying what on earth, I just said, let me bandage you up, let me help you, let me do this. And I never said, you made a mistake, what the heck is wrong with you? You shouldn't have had the bag. And then what I said is, let me help you feel better. I never judged what he did. And then later on, I said, you have backpacks, right? He goes, yeah, Dad. He goes, I get it. Next time I'll wear a backpack instead of holding a bag by the handlebars so I don't trip on it. But he appreciated the fact that I didn't judge him, but all I did was help him, and I didn't reprimand him, and I didn't say, what were you thinking kind of deal. And I just was there to support him, right, in the time of need. And I think as parents, we need to be there without judgment and just to be a parent, to be a loving, kind human being.
Well, certainly, I think most of us try to do that. It doesn't mean it's always perceived that way. Randy, I wanted to know a little bit more. So you said you went in and did this team meeting. So, what leads you to be invited to go in and do these team meetings?
So I'll go into organizations like this particular organization. We started off and we did the leadership game over my shoulder. It's a tool that kind of opens up conversation, and it's a fun interactive game. They actually helped sponsor an event that I had co-led called Live to Lead, and they were one of the sponsors. So that group, we started with that, and what I do is an event and a process. So the event would be whether that's the leadership game, a workshop of some sort, and then a process of a leadership roundtable or one-on-one coaching. And I can't tell you exactly what leads me to the different organizations, because it's all kinds of different paths. It's ultimately it's relationships and timing. Is what has led to me working with the different organizations that I've served. I'll provide from time to time. I'll provide like a free leadership training, hour-long leadership training, so they experience what I do, and then it comes from there. Or one-on-one coaching, and they experience what I do to help them to think into their leadership, and it goes from there. So lots of different paths. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
You did for me.
Mhm.
And the reason I asked that is, a lot of the people that Sifu and I meet, and I'm a publicist at heart, and Sifu is a great communicator and has multiple different businesses as well as I. And so, and the people that we meet and the people who tend to follow us and listen to our playbacks and do the replays are often asking, how do people get opportunities and create opportunities for themselves? And so when I heard that you were team leading a group, I thought, there's so many people that come to me and they want to know. And rather than me always answering the question, let's let other people who are also doing those things answer as well, so that
Yeah.
it's collective. And so then I can say, see, I'm not the only one who suggests that.
Right.
Ultimately, it's it's a people business. You gotta, for hold up in our homes all the time, you're not going to meet new people. So you got to find ways. In this virtual space, we can do that as well, but got to get out of the house, meet new people, connect, see how you can add value to them, and lead with finding ways to give and serve them, and then opportunities come. That's just kind of my approach. I don't like to be the overbearing, pushy sales type of person. Do you have a problem that I can help you with? Great. If not, let's get to know each other, and if I can serve you in some way or connect you to somebody that can help the problems you have, great. It's just, how can I add value to other people? And ultimately it kind of all circles back and comes back to you somehow.
Yeah, I love getting out of the house, type of things. Get away from the being in front of a camera or on a Zoom call or whatever kind of thing. I mean, right now we're all in front of one, but getting out, Dr. and Andrea and I were just in Canada, and we were mingling and talking to different people, and it was a great event because we get to have a conversation with people we may never have had, and it's not the same as it is in person, compared if we're just doing a virtual coffee or something of that nature. And so I love the fact of getting out of the house, connecting with someone. When we can do that, my gosh, um, I think the opportunities just flow, right? And you never know who you're going to meet that can say, hey, you know what? We need you at our next event, at our live event, or come to chamber or whatever it is, so that we can listen to your perspectives. And I think that in Dr. Andrea, she's been traveling so much. So I was asking her before, where on earth are you today? And yes, she's at a hotel, but she's been traveling, going all over from Canada. I know she went to Chicago, and she was traveling before that in Las Vegas and all these different things. But it's getting out there. It's almost like she was in a world tour, I'm going to say. Yes, she's a celebrity, that I am so happy that I get to be friends with. But I'd like to share with you that even in the busy life that we have, we have to take time for ourselves. And I'd like to share this with you guys. Take a look.
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Sifu Rafael. What if I told you 90 days is all it takes to detox your body, clear your mind, and completely reset your life? Sifu's Mind Body Method is a complete system that blends movement, mindset, journaling, nutrition, hydration, and fasting into one powerful experience. This is your invitation to get stronger, clearer, and more in control from the inside out. Click the link and join Sifu's Mind Body Method today. Don't miss your chance to reset your life.
Congratulations. That sounds fun.
It is fun. It's so much fun. But it's work, right? Anything worthwhile is work. And being that we're talking about leading better, who to lead better than yourself,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
I also find from doing multiple radio shows, I've been doing radio for over 30 years, where I'm either a guest or hosting something or co-hosting something. And I hear people all the time that'll say something and then it'll be like, and like they'll have said something to someone else, and then they'll admit that, oh, I should have been listening to my own advice. And I've been noticing it a lot for myself over the last couple months. And it's like, yeah.
Here's what I get from what you just said, and I love that you just said it, because you've made changes. You finally said, I'm right. I am right. And you've made changes, Dr. Andrea. Can you tell us how you're leading yourself better because of the changes that you started listening to yourself for?
Yeah, I can. Let me think about that a second. So I have this ability to see within people and their businesses and their visions, things that they can't always see for themselves. And so I will often give and put into them and pour into them so that I can lift them to higher and higher levels. And with some of those people, some of them are clients. They do amazingly well. I get really excited to see them super succeed. It just brings me great joy. And then there are people that I've partnered with and done different business deals with that I see their potential. And so then I will hold off on maybe some things of my own, or even if they're doing something that's with me that is of my own, I'll pour into them so that I can get them everything that they need so that we're playing on this field, even though they might even be better than me in some areas, but there's some areas that I'm giving them that edge, whether it's confidence or in sales or helping them systematize things or publicity and marketing. There's something that I'm helping elevate them to. And I have found that in doing that, I am forgetting that I also need to pour into me. And then what I have found in some of those situations is I lead them to such a level of awesomeness that then they now think I can go do that by myself. And some of them do and do okay. Some of them do well, and some of them don't. And part of that is whatever that we were doing together, they forget that part of that is something that I've already been doing, knowing, seeing, participating in, or I have the bandwidth or the connections for, or the sales for that they don't have. So they leave prematurely, not knowing what all was there for them, for their future. And it's unfortunate to see that people don't always see for themselves until it's too late. And then they ask for a redo or a do-over. And I have learned that that's a no. There's opportunities for yes. I'm always open to hear, but there has to be that new level of trust and expectation that let me see where you're pouring in and giving here first before I can do that again. It's an interesting world, and I love people greatly, and I accept, and the coolest part about all that is I'm very forgiving, and I'm more forgiving than I've ever been. I think, and I am excited to see them grow and do their own thing. And that also allows me the space to know that I have all the resources that I need to do everything, and I don't have to rely on anybody else. And if someone chooses not to continue to contribute to something, then it's okay.
It is okay.
Because I now have all that energy now to pour only on this side instead of splitting and dividing that energy. And it's just allowed me to go to even greater heights. So it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, thank you. So I don't know. That's very Randy. We should ask what you think. Sifu knows some behind the scenes stuff.
That's exactly. I was going to ask. I was going to ask Randy, how do you lead yourself to be better?
That's the hardest person to lead, right? The person that we look at in the mirror every day. And for me, it starts with routines. I do this talk on, I call it prioritizing for success. And I talk about macro, micro, and nano priorities. And the macro priorities, those are, figuring out what you're going to do with your day. But the nano is really what impacts it all. The little habits that we have. So for me, like I'm crazy. I get up at dark 30. I like slept in actually 45 minutes today because it's a special day for me. And I get up, go to the bathroom, go downstairs, journal, read, eat breakfast, head to the gym. And that's like the me time. And I get home and my wife's just crawling out of bed by the time I get home from the gym. So it's like, then the sun sometimes hasn't even risen in the winter time. But why I do that is that's time. Like even at the gym, I'm listening to things. I'm listening to podcasts or just listening to music and thinking while I'm working out. I'm crazy. I'm on the elliptical and I'm reading a book while I'm on the elliptical with music. People are like, this guy's nuts. It's whatever. But it's a self-leadership habit that serves me to get my mind in the right place at the beginning of the day, or if there's practical things like Sunday night, looking at my calendar and saying, okay, what do I got this week? Okay. Where there's gaps, what do I need to fill in? So I'm not just spending my time, but investing my time in things that'll move the business forward and get me from where I am to where I want to be. Am I just active or am I productive? And then at the end of the day, this is a habit that I'm working on improving on, is just I'm laying down on the pillow and I'm just thinking, okay, what happened today? What went well? What didn't go well? What did I learn today? What am I thankful for? Just kind of almost thinking about those things. And I'm a person of faith, and if that's not your thing, don't take it personally, but I'll be kind of talking to God and praying and just talking about all that stuff. But those bookends, the front end and the back end of the day, are big self-leadership things for me. And then just being intentional with my schedule throughout the day. I think it helps that for me, I have this constant clock running in the back of my head. I don't know if it's my personality or the fact I spent many years in a weight room with a clock that went bang every 7 minutes. So like, it's like a thing in my head. Like time blocking isn't something I had to be taught. I just kind of naturally do it. So those are some habits for me that have worked well for me, but it gets down to those, what I call the nano priorities, or the habits that influences everything. And even people smarter than me have proven, it's not just 21 days that your brain rewires, but in 63 days, it completely rewires. So just leading ourselves in that habit that we want to create, whether that's working out, whether that's leading our team better and not blowing up at our team, but communicating more effectively with them and communicating in a way that connects with them instead of just the way we like to be communicated with. Like I like direct and to the point, but I learned really quickly not everybody else likes that. So I've learned over time I need to adjust and be able to connect with them so I can. But it starts with me being able to lead myself and be aware of, oh, this isn't working, so then I can lead other people more effectively.
Sifu?
I love that. I wanted to chime in because I don't want to apologize that I believe in God. My spirituality is mine. And if you do or don't, that's cool. That I still love you as a human being, right? I still, and I love the fact that, you do what you do, your habits do. I always say habits either break you or make you. And I'm the same way. I'm up before most people are even, alert. And I've done so much more before most people. Almost, if you remember that old commercial, I don't know if it's one of the armed forces said, we do things before most people are awake and alert. And that's been my motto for forever, basically. And I love the fact that, you're doing that and that you're creating this lifestyle that so many people don't and will probably never understand because they haven't done it. They haven't done it for the 2163. And there is a program out there called 75 Hard.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big believer of 75 hard. What, life is hard already. Why do I have to make it harder? Because here's what happens. People go 75 hard and they go 75 soft. So for me, it's about do life the right way, and it does not have to be super hard. Consistency is the real game for me. Why should I make it hard? Life is hard already. So let me make it enjoyable. Let me make it something I look forward to, not something I dread. I'm that morning guy before most people are even awake. I take cold showers. I do fasting. I journal. I read my book. I read the Bible every morning, and it's what centers me, right? And a lot of people don't. They're like, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" I'm like, absolutely nothing. I said, and if
Probably
you
a
think
lot less than others.
if you think there's something
think
wrong
that's-
with me, let's go back and look in the mirror, and we can do it together, right? Because before you judge me, judge yourself. Because I am not in this world to judge anyone. And this is why I love that the next part of the conversation we're having is communicate better and smarter, because we have to communicate smart with ourselves. It's the stories we tell ourselves, the lies we tell ourselves, the truths we tell ourselves, and the future we build based on how we communicate smarter.
So, Sifu, I was giggling when Randy was speaking earlier, and not at you, Randy, but because some of the things that you were saying were resonating with friends of ours, Sifu and I, with friends and other people that we've worked with. Oh, and one of them, I was just going to reference Jose Escobar, because you had made the comment about, how things are winning in your life, especially if you have the bookends of the day. And that's one of Jose's products is the bookends of your day. So that is absolutely hysterical that he got to hear that as well. And now we're putting up that he probably got to hear that. So that's super funny. And then, I just love that when things align like that. And you were also talking about how the different people respond and do things. And Sifu and I are both part of Bank Code, a Code Breaker Technologies, where we learn about different personalities and how people correspond and work with each other based on how they like to be talked to. And so it just was very fun that you were picking up on some things, nuances that Sifu and I both enjoy incorporating into our work lives and the people that we hang around with.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something you said, Sifu. I laughed because a client of mine did 75 hard, but he didn't do 75 soft. He stayed on it, and, what's great about something, and I haven't done it. I just do my thing. But what's great about things like that is if it gets sometimes people just need something to get themselves going, to lead themselves better. Mm-hmm. That's why, physically, with martial arts, Sifu, my oldest son, did Taekwondo for years. Mm-hmm. And the discipline that he learned and the habits that he developed. And sometimes some people, we need that outside influence to prod us along. I think all of us know that. Just, people, we end up in people's universes because maybe they need a little more accountability. They need a little more structure. They need a little plan. And some people are able to do it on their own and go from 75 hard to whatever. There's a follow-up program, I think, for that, but whatever. The key is having a plan, having accountability, and sometimes often having people in our lives. Because every Friday I have a person that I get on a call with who's a business accountability partner, and the first question is, beyond the, how you doing, is, hey, what'd you do this past week? And then one of the last ones, what do you got planned next week? Mm-hmm. And it keeps me on track, keeps him on track. It's a give and take type thing. But just when you mentioned the 70, I thought of my client, and I thought, well, he's one of the few people that probably actually stayed on it, and it served him well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's one of those really cool things that have been going around that encourages people to be healthier. As far as accountability and coaches, and almost all my keynote talks, I always reference Sir Anthony Hopkins. I had the pleasure of speaking after him at an event, and we were talking backstage. He really talks about honing your craft, and how he does that is by having several people coach him for everything that he does. And I myself have multiple different coaches as well, and accountability on Mondays. We go through a list of what I've accomplished and what I haven't, and laugh along the way. And I want to remind people too. My philosophy is I don't want to work hard. I want to play hard. I want my work to be my play, and I have a lot of fun with it. And I say that with relationships too. Nobody wants to work at their relationship. Play in your relationship harder, and then it makes the work easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what Jose wrote here. He's done 75 hard successfully 5 times, but he's agreeing with me, and that's why he signed up for Sifu's Mind Body Method program. There's nothing wrong with the program if you're going to stick with it, any program. For me, I don't believe in diet. I believe in lifestyle, right? Because diets, take out the D and you're going to die in the process. We don't want to die. You want to live. You want to thrive. You want to grasp life. And man, let it fill you. Life is so beautiful. Randy, I got to tell you, I am so thrilled that you took the time to be here with us today. And unfortunately, we are at that time where we've just been having a great conversation here with you. But it is the time that we have to say adios, amigos, and let's move on to the next chapter of our day. But before we do that, Randy, I'd love for you to, we're going to put your website across the bottom. What can somebody expect when they go and log on with you?
Yeah, so if they go to leadwell.biz, what they'll see is they can learn a little bit about me, but there's also right there a quick assessment they can take to assess what I call the 4 pillars of leadership: that leadership, self-leadership, teamwork, and communication. Those create the foundation for influence. It's a quick little assessment they can take, and then if they're interested in kind of a quick personal debrief of that, that's something they can do. Also, they can find out how to contact me in ways I can come alongside them and serve them personally, serve their teams, and help them go from where they are as a leader and as our team to where they want to be. So
perfect. Everybody make sure you go to leadwell.biz and have a conversation with Randy. Dr. Andrea, it's your turn to tell us. I mean, me personally, I already know how amazing you are, but what can somebody expect when they go to your website?
So if you go to www.theredcarpetconnection.com, you'll find different information on how we help entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, and visionaries unlock their highest potential through neuroscience, publicity, and strategic connection. I'm known as the woman with a $15 billion Rolodex. And if you're too young to know what a Rolodex is, that's just a really long contact list in my phone. And to some really great, amazing people all over the world. And through that, we help people's dreams come true.
Love it.
And Sifu, share about you.
Sure. I'm Sifu Rafael. I do have 7 podcasts, and for me, it's about giving back. And if you want to connect even deeper, you can go and join us at Sifu Mind Body Method. And there you also get a free 7-day detox. So you can start detoxing and reclaim your life. So reset your mind and your body. And my website is running across the bottom, SifuRafael.com/SMBM, which means Sifu's Mind Body Method. Wow. That was a mouthful even for me. So thank you guys for being here, for joining us. Randy, hang on for a minute. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Everybody, do me a favor. What a great show. Go ahead and share it. People need to hear what Randy spoke about today, the importance of leading better and communicating smarter. Everybody, have a blessed and beautiful rest of your day.